To reach this town, you travel a long way. The nearest ocean surf breaks almost 7 miles from here. The closest town, 300 miles. Isolated, yet Alice Springs, once an outpost on the overland telephone line, Alice Springs is now a tourist center, where it's still a long way from anywhere. A solitary road runs north. It goes 954 miles to Darwin. It's a boom city, all hustle and progress. And hustle there will be when Darwin is linked in a project of almost perpetual movement, soon to start at the southern end of that long, long road.
It's hot here in Alice, so very different from Sydney, just a few hours and 1,500 miles back. We've come the quick way by air, but our purpose is to drive a car. There are going to be a team of 9, we're the advanced part. The car we're going to use has been brought from the south on a trailer. Well, not all the way. Near Woomera, the trailer broke loose and catapulted its load into the salt bush. Not a good way to start a project in which the reliability and performance of a car are critical factors. Not a happy sight, one day before a big run is due to start, but it's amazing what a new rear windscreen and a bit of polish can do for a car. And the next day, we're on the line, ready to go. 3 of us are travelling on the first trip. That's me, John Pearce. My mates are Evan Green and Jack Murray, Jellic Night Jack. Blimey, what a threesome. 2 nuts and a crackerjack. What are we doing? Okay, the idea is to try and drive this car virtually non-stop for 10 days. Up and down the bitumen between Alice Springs and Darwin. Our object is to cover more miles in that time than anyone has ever achieved in Australia before. Our target is 15,000 miles in 10 days. We've got 953 miles to go to our Darwin checkpoint. The bitumen's official title is the Stuart Highway, and happily it doesn't carry much traffic. What it does carry is usually big and uninteresting.
What's there, Harry? Don't miss all the scenery.
The road follows the overland telegraph line, first put through 100 years ago. You might drive 80 or 90 miles without seeing a sign of life, and then pass an old signal station turned into a pub. Easy to doze off in this heat. Huh? Oh, it couldn't be.
There's nothing coming other way. I thought they called this the bitumen.
The 3-way road junction north of Tennant Creek and the first of 2 regular fueling stops. Mount Isa lies to the east, Darwin to the north, still 620 miles away. A fresh crew is waiting in Darwin, and experienced rally driver Roy Denny gathers provisions for trip number 2. The schedule calls for each run to be made in less than 16 hours. The car may be early, and the top-end team waits, just in case. Then again, the car could be late.
were a little slower on the run than we had anticipated due to some troubles that began before the car even reached Alice Springs. On its way up, it was being taken up on a trailer. The trailer broke loose near the Woomera rocket range, and the car dented the sides in a few places, but apparently, and the thing we didn't find until the run, it also cracked the bottom of the radiator.
Oh.
And we lost water all the way up to Darwin, which meant that we took something like 5 hours longer than we had anticipated. Even so, the car still has covered more than 1,000 miles in the first 24 hours, so it's well and truly in the running.
What sort of trip do you have, Jack?
What sort of a trip? What are you talking about? Trip? It was a nightmare. 93 roos in 200 miles. Never out of sight of a bloody roo.
Mick Knoll lives in Darwin and knows the road south well. This will be Roy Denny's first trip on the bitumen, but by the time this project's over, he should know it well too. He's scheduled to travel it half a dozen times. No brake for the car. That's to be the pattern of the run. It's an endurance test for the machine, and it must keep going, while the men who drive it rest when they can. The road was made during the war. Some rebuilding is being carried out and there are 30 miles of detours. While this is not an exercise in sheer speed, an average has to be maintained, and these interruptions make things a little harder. Catherine, 220 miles have been covered in 3 hours. They'll need fuel for the next stage to the road junction near Tennant Creek. That's 404 miles away, say 6.5 hours. Already everything is being resolved into factors of time. Time between points and time spent refueling. No time to waste. There's a fresh crew waiting at the Alice and a schedule to keep. Back at Darwin, it's a different story. The off-duty crew can relax and act like tourists. They visit a friend of Jack's with a liking for fish.
Carl, how long have you been feeding the fish here?
Oh, since I closed this wall in, when I built one wall, the fish used to come in and get a bit of shelter from the waves, you see. That's about 4 years ago.
What sort of fish do you have, Carl?
Well, in the surface fish you see there, we have mullet or salmon or whatever you like to call them. And down below you got brim and occasional big barramundi who, when I feed them meat, he gets the meat.
How big?
Oh, 3 foot long.
Yeah.
And then outside, a bit further out, we've got catfish by the ton. You know, the catfish come in here. Mostly the nights the catfish come. I think the catfish operate at night.
Yeah.
Tell me what cat doesn't.
Oh, golly, it's good in the water. Mind you, the beer gets a bit waterlogged. It's been mighty hot during the day, and let's spare a thought, but only a little one, for our mates down the road. They ought to be getting close to Alice Springs by now.
The end of Run 2, and the end of a 1,906-mile round trip back to Alice Springs. Behind the wheel this time will be Australian touring car champion Ian Pete Gagan. His co-driver will be Alan Kemp. They are taking the car back to Darwin. And while the third crew is heading north, the relief drivers await their arrival. As far as Jack Murray is concerned, they can take their time. Darwin Harbour is the largest in Australia, and the locals take full advantage of it. The team of Alan Kemp and Pete Gagan, meantime, has amassed more miles than either of the previous crews, but by accident, they've been lost. At the Tennant Creek Road junction, they went east, not north, and covered an extra and unscheduled 349 miles. They are not relishing the rubbishing they're going to get in Darwin. Now, let's see, with an extra 349 miles, that's embarrassing.
Gentlemen, on behalf of the Navigators Society of Australia, we of the other crew would like to wish you the very best on this occasion. And so, to you, the two wise men in the East, may we hand you the navigation trophy with the immortal words of Kipling, that East is East and West is West, and never the train you'll meet. I'd like to congratulate you. What? You haven't told us what happened. Gas is okay.
Oil and water's right too. You know, it still hasn't used any oil.
Four trips over, and during the day, the car covered 1,786 miles for a 24-hour period. That's more miles in a day than any car has ever covered in Australia. And better figures are to come. Mick Noel and Roy Denny are to help raise the one-day total to a staggering 1,798 miles. This is not a record attempt, but it's 99 miles more than the record. If records are made to be broken, the rambling collection of boulders known as the Devil's Marbles give the impression of indestructibility. South of Tennant Creek, they're one of the highway's great tourist attractions. At the top end, wildlife flourishes in the tropical climate. The easy way to see it is in an enclosed area, safer too than running into some of the game in its natural environment. Looks quiet enough. You'd be tempted to pat the dingoes, but not these. Can't have fluoride in the water up here. Big Pete doesn't mind a Mustang snaking, but this is different. Mick Noel and Roy Denny have had a phenomenal trip. They'll take only 11 3/4 hours for the whole journey, and that is an average of 81.6 miles per hour. Pete Gagan and Alan Kemp will take it back for trip number 6. And this time, wild horses, or donkeys, won't take them off the right road. In the centre, chasms and gorges scar the MacDonnell Ranges. It's an area of dry, arid beauty. But the fact that these hills secreted water led to the first settlement. A telegraph station was built on a waterhole, known as Alice Springs, and served as a vital link in the cable chain between the isolated colony and Mother England. Now the buildings remain as a quiet reminder of those days and that age.
Gee, Christ, who would be ringing this time of the bloody day? What day is it? Christ, we've missed a day. Go on, Greenie, get out of bed. What about giving me a hand to assemble these sandwiches?
Oh, what's in them?
This is lamb, and this is tom turkey. Just put the tops on them.
What do you want, ham or pressed ham?
Pressed ham, and the way you're pressing that, that's a double pressed ham.
The highway was built during the war to link the railhead at Alice Springs with the port of Darwin. It follows the trail blazed by John McDouall Stewart, first man to cross the country from south to north and return. Others followed him long before the bitumen was laid, cattlemen and prospectors. They rode through a vast emptiness, opening up thousands of square miles in the center of the driest continent on Earth. Latter-day pioneers are remembered, like Flynn of the Inland, father of the Flying Doctor Service. This memorial is near Tennant Creek, a third of the way up the track. End of trip number 7, and 7,000 miles have been covered in 5 days. Roy Denny has motoring writer Barry Cook with him. They get the car moving quickly. It'll be Barry's first trip, the car's 8th. If some men drive up and down a long road, others drive round and round a short track. Pete's brother Leo Gagan has joined the team. One of Australia's best racing drivers, he's surveying the talent at the Alice Springs Speedway meeting. A group of budding Gagans in action. A lot of men start off here. A few of them end up on top. Camel riders are not all of them. Eight times now the car has been up the road and back. The halfway mark has been reached. 7,500 miles to go. Days and nights of non-stop travel. Leo Gagan and Alan Kemp have covered the 950-odd miles in 13 hours. No troubles. By now, the car almost knows its own way. For those with time to spare, there are many sights to see just off the bitumen. At Mataranka is a thermal pool, crystal clear and lying near the source of the Northern Territory's Roper River. It's a favourite spot for visitors, especially for those determined to miss nothing on their first journey to the far north. Some of the drivers have now made the journey 4 times. The monotony of travelling the same road every other day could be a problem, but there are ways of filling in the waiting hours to keep a driver busy. In fact, Leo and Alan keep their drivers really busy and have a swinging session on the Darwin course. Oops, a touch of overdrive. And when all else fails, do a spot of road building. Alice Springs again, and the car is about to set an odd record. It will have run out of the 12,000-mile warranty in a little more than a week's motoring.
Not too far to Catherine now, Jack. Ever been up to the Catherine River Gorge?
Yes, I have, Evan. I was there about 3 years ago.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to see much of the beauty spot.
You can go up about 30 miles. A beautiful scenery all the way. Big cliffs, clear water, and very deep too, I believe. But it's one of the best spots off the road, on the Darwin Road in the 9 miles.
It's a permanent water supply up there, isn't it?
Yes, there's always water at Catherine, even when there's a bad drought. That's always got a lot of water in it.
Must be a lovely spot. I'd like to get there sometime.
Yeah, beautiful spot. You could stay there for a week or two. Put a lot of time in there.
When you were there?
You're joking. The place used to be full of bloody crocodiles.
Catherine?
Every day since the run started, Ralph Shepherd in Catherine has been phoning Port Darwin Motors with information on the red car's progress.
Okay, then we'll be ready for him in about 3 hours.
Right, see you, Des.
We'll see you later.
Day or night, the calls go through. The 13th run passed without incident, although the crew had to dodge more than 100 kangaroos. They missed them all. The 14th run is not to be so lucky. The car has slid wide on a tight bend, caught a small anthill, and tripped heavily. It was pushed back on its wheels and driven 700 miles to the Alice.
For one thing. It's a good way to get a new windscreen fitted.
Thank you, son. We've had our troubles.
Oh, do you reckon?
The glass screens will need replacing and the body's a little scratched and dented. Otherwise, it's sound.
How do you feel?
Not a bad test of strength, although it wasn't on the schedule.
The biggest kangaroo we've ever seen.
It was a big red.
And I think what finally tipped it over was an anthill, a small anthill. I had a look at it afterwards.
The new windscreen's in place and the second last run is underway. Mick Knowles going home to Darwin. 9 days have elapsed. 14 times the car has driven from the centre to the top of Australia and back. The goal of 15,000 miles in 10 days is within reach. For the last time, the car runs through the southern fringe of Darwin. For the last time, it heads for the centre and a rendezvous with the target mileage of 15000. The figure comes up near Larimar, south of Katherine. And for the first time in 10 days, a few minutes can be squandered at the roadside, for the drivers have something to celebrate. Across the finishing line in Alice Springs, the car has logged a total of 15,606 miles in 10 days, 19 hours and 10 minutes, including all stops. The mile-a-minute average has been beaten. There's even a cake to celebrate. A long road stretched 16 times. Even one journey can be an adventure.
Well, this is it, girls. Darwin. Not bad going, eh? 10 days from Alice.
You'd better look out for that red car.
Ah, they probably never got here. Didn't seem to know where they were going.
Wonder what they were trying to do.
You search me.